Hello again, folks. Pastor Jeff Shirley here from Boney Bible Church. And today I'd like to talk with you about the role of fathers in our society. You know, a few years ago, the singer Harry Chapin wrote a rather haunting song entitled Cats in the Cradle. In it, he told of a man who had a son but never had any time to devote to him. It begins like this. My child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away. And he was talking before I knew it, and as he grew, he'd say, I'm going to be like you, Dad. You know, I'm going to be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know, we'll have a good time then. Well, the song goes on, the kid turns 10, and the father still has no time. Stevens sings, my son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad. Come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today. I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay. And he walked away, but his smile never dimmed. It said, I'm going to be like him. Yeah, you know I'm going to be like him. And finally, the son becomes an adult. Now, after all of these years, the father finally wants to spend time with him. And the song goes, well, he came from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later. Can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Dad, you know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired and my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my job's a hassle and the kids have the flu. But it's been sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he'd grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you coming home, son? I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time then. What a heartbreaking scenario that gets played out over and over again every day in our broken society. When I think of this, it reminds me of the phrase, a few good men. Before becoming a movie starring Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson, the phrase, a few good men, was used by the United States Marine Corps to recruit prospective volunteers into the service. And just like the Marines, what America and the church needs today more than many other things are a few good men. Unfortunately, it would seem that in crucial areas, men have abdicated their responsibility. And now we're paying a dear price for this sad state of affairs. And nowhere is this seen more clearly than in our homes. Sometimes the children living in our society today are referred to as the fatherless generation. According to the United States Department of Census, a full 43% of children are living in a home absent their father. And these kids are suffering for it. Did you know that 90% of homeless and runaway youths are from fatherless homes, as are 80% of rapists motivated with displaced anger, 71% of pregnant teenagers, 63% of youth suicides, 85% of children who exhibit behavioral disorders, and 85% of youths in prisons came from families minus the dad. Fatherless boys and girls are twice as likely to drop out of high school, twice as likely to end up in jail, and they're 4 times more likely to need help for behavioral or emotional problems. It looks like the husband and father plays a vital role in the family and in society in general. But for those of us who know Scripture, this is no surprise. The family unit consisting of a father and a mother to rear the children was God's idea. We first find out in the book of Genesis that God created mankind in the image of their Creator. In the beginning, He only created Adam. But then the Lord said that it is not good for man to be alone. Genesis 2:18. So we find that God created a woman from the side or the rib of Adam. And when he first saw her, Adam exclaimed, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. Genesis 2:23. And the first two human beings were to be fruitful and multiply and replenish or fill the earth and subdue it. They were given the job of filling the earth with other people who were image bearers of God like themselves, by having and rearing children. It was always meant by God for both Adam and Eve to do this under the rule of the Almighty Sovereign of the universe. And any other arrangement is not the ideal atmosphere for rearing a family. Later, Scripture teaches that the husband is the head of the wife as Christ is the head of the church, Ephesians 5:23. It also tells us that the husband should love his wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, Ephesians 5:25. Now, Christ gave himself up for us by dying for us. That means that the husband should be willing to die for his wife as well as to live for her well-being. When it comes to their offspring, the Bible makes it clear that not only should children obey their parents in the Lord, the father also must not provoke his children to anger, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. It's Ephesians 6:1-4. And when we put all of this together, it is the husband and father who has the ultimate responsibility to see that his family is following the Lord. He is to set the spiritual tone in the household and see that his family prays, studies the Bible, and attends church. He is the spiritual leader. Unfortunately, many men are abdicating this duty as well. It's shameful how many Christian men don't lead in this vital area. And the effects of the father not leading are quite staggering. For instance, when it comes to church attendance, when fathers do not attend with their family, only 1 in 50 of the children in these households will grow up to be regular church attenders themselves. This is whether or not the mother is faithful in church attendance. If a father is a regular church attender, about half or to 2/3 of the children will be churchgoers. It's interesting that a non-practicing mother with a regular father will still have a minimum 2/3 of her children become church-attending adults. Contrast that with a non-practicing father with a regular mother. The statistics change to the sad fact that 2/3 of the children will never darken the doors of a church again once they're grown. If we take away both the mother and father's attendance, fully 80% of the children become non-church attenders as adults. Which means that more and more of our society is being brought up not from a godly biblical perspective, but from a secular, ungodly one. The truth is that if we don't teach our children to follow Christ, the world will teach them not to do it. It doesn't take an expert to tell us that we as a country are in a lot of trouble. The family is the foundation of any society, and it is crumbling. We definitely need a few good men to step up and to lead. To be honest, there are some out there who are leading. But sadly, godly men in America are a dying breed. We need more of these individuals who will step up and say, like Joshua of old, that as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24:15. Then and only then can we stop the erosion that is happening in our country and in the world. There is still hope, but only God knows how much longer we can survive like this. However, let us not give up. It was Dwight L. Moody who said, "The world has not yet seen what God can do with a man that is fully consecrated to Him." And it's my ambition to say with Moody that, with God's help, I will be that man. I pray that all men who love the Lord will do the very same thing. And then we can one day look back and see what God has done working through us to bring glory to Himself and to save our society. Let us be the few good men that the Lord is looking for. God bless you, and I'll talk with you soon.